Never.
No way.
Never.
No way.
All right.
Even over the holidays?
No.
No, he's putting it out no matter what.
Wow.
Got to get it out. Got to get out.
All right. Well, this is the first one. We have the spaces. We have the silhouettes. You got to fill it in for us. Who's number 5?
Number five. Number 5. This was a controversial pick for some people. He has had a slight vacation early in the season here. But Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers, it's hard to leave him out of the mix of the best players in this league when you consider his impact. With him on the floor, we're talking about arguably and basically one of the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference at all times with Joel Embiid in the mix. I would like to see him play a little bit more bully ball at the end of games and go down in the post. But he's certainly among those top 5 guys early on here on MVP ladder.
I think a lot of us would like to see that. Do you have a problem with that? You good with him?
No, I have a problem with that because he should play well. Joel Embiid doesn't go through the grind that NBA players go through. He's playing a different game than all these other guys. Who's to say what Karl Anthony Towns would do if he played no more than 3/4 of the games, or Nikola Jokic? This guy doesn't play enough basketball for me to belong on this board.
That's what kept him from winning Rookie of the Year, because he'd missed so much time. And I have a question about that for you when we get to number 1. But first, we have to go to number 4.
Number 4, AD, Anthony Davis. You know, Western Conference Player of the Week early on this year. I would argue that he's been slightly overshadowed by one of his teammates. And I'm not talking about, Avery Bradley. I know you big Avery Bradley.
Which teammate do you mean?
But look, AD's been fantastic. And all these Laker fans who are wondering what the big fuss was about last year when you're throwing all the young guys overboard, I'm assuming you've gotten the picture now. This is a difference maker on a different level when we're talking about elite players in this league. He's one of the best 2-way players in the league, and it's certainly had an impact like we thought he would for the Lakers so far.
Can't argue that one. No, I mean, this guy, you could move him up maybe even, but you can't argue with him being on the board. I mean, this guy has been great.
I have no issue with this whatsoever.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, let's move on to number 3.
Number 3, now here's another one that people get a little upset about.
Well, people are going to get upset about all of them.
I know. This whole load management conversation.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine any list of the top players in this league without the reigning finals MVP, and then the guy to me who's really asserted himself as the best and most complete 2-way player in the game right now. If you look at what he does, the impact he has on both ends of the floor for his team, Kawhi Leonard has got to be in your mix on any MVP level.
Well, there's no question he's an MVP caliber player. At this time of the year, having already missed a couple of games, no, I wouldn't do it through 7 games. But to say, is this guy an MVP caliber player? He certainly is. And you've seen how much better they are in the games he's played than the ones he's missed.
There's a theme developing here, which I'm going to pay off at the end. But let's get to number 2.
Number 2, the old guy. I know we thought he was washed.
I don't know who says that.
I don't know who said it. It wasn't me. I don't remember you saying it.
I didn't say that.
I don't know.
I'm not sure anybody said it.
There's a discussion about it. I don't think anybody actually said
who cares?
that.
He needed some motivation.
Okay.
But boy, has LeBron not turned back the clock? Looks like LeBron James from 5 or 6 years ago.
Rejuvenated.
It's unbelievable to watch him play at the level he is. Both ends now playing defense again after last year, needing a push, so to speak, to play a little defense. I love the way he's leading as well. You see what LeBron vibes with in terms of the makeup of his roster. If he's got veteran teammates, guys that he can set up and that understand how to play, you look at what Dwight Howard's done. He's been rejuvenated as well, playing alongside LeBron, AD, and some of these other guys. And they haven't gotten Rondo back yet on this Lakers team. I'm curious to see how he fits in with the way they play so well early on here. And to me, LeBron certainly should be in this mix. You could make a case for him being first.
You know what? In the preseason, I argued that he was, in a wide open field, as good a pick as anyone to win the MVP for the 5th time, which would be a historic win.
Yeah, there's no question. Every year you could put that guy up there among the top 2 or 3, and you could always make a case for him being the MVP.
I just typically the MVP is on a team that has improved greatly, and this team obviously is going to make a huge jump in terms of wins. All right, that leaves us with one more spot, and I know who it belongs to, but that's your job.
Yeah, this is the guy. Look, this is the guy who last year, after he won MVP, told us don't call him MVP anymore, right? Until he wins it again. He will get his wish potentially this season if he keeps playing the way he has early on. Anytime you start a season, Coach, the way nobody in the league has ever done before, I don't have a hard time figuring the Giannis Antetokounmpo for the number 1 spot. The scoring, the rebounding, the all-around play, the fact that he comes back stronger, better, and is knocking down wide open threes, That's a frightening thought for everybody around the league if Giannis is going to play like this all season.
He's been great.
It's hard to argue with him. I mean, look, they're the number one offense in the league right now. And if you look at the roster around him, good players, but no other stars. It's not like LeBron and Anthony Davis.
No.
And he's got them as the number one offense in the league.
You mentioned games played. Kawhi Leonard's already missed 25% of their games. If you were voting, and Sekou and I both vote, if you were voting, what would be the minimum number of games a player would have to play to get your MVP vote?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know, but if I'm comparing two guys, there's going to be a big difference. Listen, for Kawhi Leonard, there's 22 games last year where he had no impact at all.
Right.
So you're talking a quarter of the games. Let's just look at it and say, that guy may be great. He had zero impact
and by the way, they were
on
still
a quarter of the games.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
that was the big thing. They were 17-5 without him. But he had zero impact on those games. So if you've got a guy now who also plays 60 good games and then has some impact on the other 20 games, I got to go with that guy. That's the one thing I've always liked about LeBron. Obviously the injury last year, but for the most part, this guy suits up and goes every single night.
I know it's a factor for me, and there are exceptions to every rule. How much do you take into account?
No, you do. At the end
played?
of a season, when you can calculate how much of a season the guys miss, it does impact it. That's why if you go back and look at last year's final MVP ladder, Joel Embiid was further down than his, impact would suggest. So was Kawhi. A lot of that is just availability. How often is a guy available to play at this level for his team? And a lot of guys can't consistently play like this. There's a reason that group usually separates itself from the pack. Paul George was impacted last year some. By availability. When you have an injury and it knocks you out of the mix for a while. You think about the one guy to me who's benefited from playing all the time is James Harden. It's really worked in his favor the last few years because he's there consistently night after night. He's not in the top 5 this week, but certainly is a guy you keep an eye on because you know he's going to be grinding through no matter what. He doesn't believe in load management.
Bill Walton won his league MVP after playing 58 games. And I love Bill, but that would be a tough ballot to cast, 58.
No, it really would. And listen, I mean, here's the other part is it's a lot harder to play 82 than it is to play 60. So you're looking at it and you're saying, but in the 60 he played, this guy's numbers are better than that guy's. Well, I don't know that would be the case.
Right.
If Kawhi had to play the 82 and had to play both nights of a back-to-back, he's not doing the hardest things. He's certainly an MVP level talent. He proved it throughout the playoffs last year. There's no question of his greatness.
No.
But as far as regular season performance, part of it is, can you meet the demands of an 82-game grind?
Great point.
There you have it. MVP ladder number 1 for the 1920 season. Sekou.